This training session is an orientation into the definition of plant products. Now, a plant product is something that we sell for a specific price, and it's a description of a product. It's not the plant name. It's a plant of a certain size, grade, and so on. As we set up the program to define our plant products and our prices that go with those, we begin by starting at the main menu and click Plant Product Definitions. Now, this orientation doesn't go into a great deal of detail on each of the components. I'll go into that in another video at another time. At this point, let's just do a quick overview of exactly how plants are defined so that you can get an idea of the components that you may want to use as you set up your plants. Let's start at the bottom with Plant Product Definition Setup. When we start with Plant Product Definition, this is going to determine the attributes of the plant product that we decide to use. Now, in the beginning, the plant name is not really an option. You've got to have the plant name or some version of the plant name in the definition. You have a choice whether you want to use either the botanical name or the common name or some shorthand code for the plant. We have some nurseries that use just the genus and then some additional descriptors. So it's going to be, there's a great deal of flexibility in terms of how we set this up. But what you do in this beginning section is we decide we're going to use the name plus what? Plus we're going to have some description of the size. In this case, we're going to have something that we call grade. We are also in this particular set going to have container sizes. And note that generally B&B is a container size. Liner is usually a container size. Height is a separate and often not used section that describes what it says, the height of the plant material that's we're selling. Width, same thing, less used than height. Form generally refers to topiary materials, but it could be it could also relate to on-standard bush form, anything that gives specific information to the user. Color, flowering material, of course, would need to have some color specifics on it. And age is frequently used, particularly for conifer seedlings and some bare root material. Also, age is a factor in using it. If you buy and resell some or all of your plant material, which grower or vendor that plant comes from may also be a factor in determining the product name. So as you go through and decide what you're going to use, many nurseries simply use two. They take the plant name and then size, and they may have some combination of characters and descriptors that they've combined into one field that they call size, and this is something that you are comfortable with and your nursery's been doing it for a long time, and we just stay with that. When that happens, we very often rename these labels. So these labels we can call them anything. So if you want to call it variety instead of size, that's not a problem. We can go through and name these things whatever you'd like to see them named. But basically, the first step is decide what are the components that you're going to use. The next, what is the sequence of the layout? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then here's an example down below. It's going to lay something out in this kind of a manner as it displays it throughout the system and to your customers. So step 1 is this. Whenever we make changes, we click Apply Changes, and this, as we have our material set up, it reorganizes the sequence accordingly. You can either use the shorthand code or the long version of either of these things as we put them in the tables. If that's not clear to you at this point, it will be shortly. Let's close this screen and let's go all the way from the bottom up to the top, Plant Products and Prices, and take a quick look at what I'm talking about by the choices that we've selected in the prior screen. In our plant product, this is our plant product definition and price list. So this is where we define our products. So each one of these records is a product that is for sale. Now, as I scroll across, it has all of the descriptors that we checked in the prior screen. We have the plant, we have the common name. Now, in this case, you can see that size is only used on a few of the plants. grade in this particular case. Even though we use it, we don't use it on every single product. Container size in this particular data set is used pretty much on every item. Height is occasionally used, width less frequently used, and form is less frequently used as well. As we move across, we come to a display name. This is what the vendor or what the customer sees on most of their printed material, or excuse me, I misspoke. This is what the staff sees on our printed material, and this is what the customer would typically see. The rest of the fields as we move across are specific to each nursery. We have 10 price levels that are available to you, plus customer-specific pricing. All of this can be talked about in another item. If you're a greenhouse operation, we have typical items per flat in this particular type. If you're using sorting categories, which category does this particular product get included in? If we're charging royalties, how much is it per item? If we're charging royalties, we're typically paying them also to the patent holder. If so, how much do we pay? Sometimes the amount we charge and the amount we pay are not the same. The weight is the weight of the product typically at shipping time. And of course, this is moisture dependent, but we put in our general number, and freight factor is a volumetric measure so that we can determine how many linear feet on the truck. So we're going to go into this information in greater detail that is a part of the plant product definition. But at this point, the overview helps you determine which of these items you want to include as you define your product. Later, when we're learning how to fill in this, you would click New Product at any point in order to enter a new item, and you just simply on the new bottom line select a plant, and then let me scroll the scroll bar back, select all of the components that apply, give it a price, and you have a brand new product ready to be sold. And again, adding a product to your price list does not require that you have it in inventory before you can sell it. You can put a plant, but it does have to be in this price list before you can add it to orders and sell it. So these are the items that you do sell. You can mark them as inactive if you're not currently processing them, and if they're in production but not yet available to sell, active keeps them in all of the inventory and production screens, but sell removes them from the order screen so that you don't have so many things that are not yet available in your order processing. As usual, your list of reports are in the bottom, and you select and then choose Preview to print. As we come back to the product definition screen, notice that we've got plant products and prices, and then a separate category for non-plant products and prices. The non-plant products and prices are listed here, so if you sell items that are not plant material and will not be inventoried in the normal way that plant material is inventoried, then it goes in this list. So we may inventory that separately, just as we would inventory material. But we'll talk about this on a case-by-case basis about whether or not you would inventory your non-plant products. But generally, these are for products that are not inventoried. Things like freight charge, delivery charge, phytosanitary charge, anything that you might be adding to the nursery or to the invoice. Then as we go down the list of these individual lists, these are the definition components here in detail. So we start with the master plant list. The master plant list is the list of the botanical name and optionally common name, or there are some nurseries that use the common name as their primary sales descriptor, and they may or may not use botanical name. Either one of these is used, and it's your choice on how you do that. But this primary screen gives us the typical directory layout that we're used to seeing. We can do a search to find any of the plant items, and we can organize our plants into any grouping that we choose. We can create our groups here and edit them, and they can be assigned. additional detailed information about each plant beyond its spelling is done by double-clicking into the plant record. In the plant record, we keep additional information here about its descriptors. This is used for developing your catalog, your online descriptions, or several other kinds of specialized reports. You have a lot of information here that describes the plant. You have label description in this area. You have suitable sales substitutes for the sales staff to know what to substitute when this plant may not be available. Additionally, as we go through, the rest of these are in similar fashion reference lists. Like this is a reference list of all the plant names. This is a reference list of the sizes that you will use. And this is the display sequence that we're going to see them displayed in. These are the grades that would be used. This is our reference list. You can add to these at any time. Container size, for example, this is if I want to add a new container size or any of these new ones, I simply go to the bottom, add it to the list, and then put it in sequence. What is the display sequence that I want it to display in? Again, we're going to talk about each of these in more detail. In this overview set, the primary thing that I want to do is make sure that you understand that this is the base definition of the products that you will inventory and sell. Until you define a product, you can't sell it. You don't have to have it in inventory to sell it, and you don't have to have it ready in order to start inventorying it. But we'll discuss all of these things in other videos. So at this point, I'm going to conclude our presentation on plant product definitions, and we'll go into more detail on specific components of this at a later time.